We're continuing our Battletech clan invasion review, and in this vlog, we're going to explore the Timberwolf. Now, out there in Battletech lore, we've got the Warhammer, we've got the Marauder. I mean, these are icons. I almost feel like the Timberwolf is perhaps more iconic to new players because it's just prominently featured in many, many games, in lots of images, lots of media. It's all over the place. I think if you held up a sign that was like, what is this? People would be like, Battletech. The question, of course, is it overhyped? Because it's prominent everywhere. And in terms of the clans, that initial invasion, is there a more iconic machine? So we're going to put the hype, we're going to put the fluff, we're going to put the narrative aside and dive into this as how it operates on the table and some of the different weapon configurations on how to use it. In my mind, the Timberwolf is essentially an updated Warhammer. I know that's a little bit heresy right there. An updated Warhammer that has all of the possibilities, the tactica possibilities of what the Warhammer wanted to do, but could not do due to armor issues, heat issues, and just, of course, having effective weapons, PPCs, but a lesser type of tech. And in my mind, that's what makes the Timberwolf so deadly, because as it effectively moves down the range brackets, it has the heat to manage it. It has amazing armor for its size. It's got good speed for its size. And you don't have the limitations of heat minimums and other ranges that the Warhammer itself has, putting the weakness of the Warhammer's legs aside. So we're at long range. We've got two LRM 20 packs. Right away, the usual checklist. Redundancy is important in Battletech. You fire one weapon, whatever that weapon is, inner sphere or clan. You've got a matrix of modifiers. What is your base skill to shoot? Then we add that up. Did you walk? Did you run? How many hexes did the target move? Is there partial cover? These modifiers back and forth, we're going to try and pull those modifiers down through movement and positioning and mission objectives, but having two of the same weapon that you fire, that's redundancy. That's why it's important. That's why mechs that have a redundancy of weapons and the ability to fire both of them in terms of heat management, which the Timberwolf has, is very, very effective. So we've got two LRM 20s. 20 pack is also the operative. 5, 10, 15, 20. Depending on the spread of the missiles and how you roll with a 20 pack, it's going to do some decent damage right off the bat, and two of these firing. If you roll legendary, it's going to just be amazing. You could do indirect fire. You've got some indirect work with the redundancy. And in terms of indirect fire, I will say the clans have the capability to do indirect, but they're really not indirect machines. That's more inner sphere, simply because given the raw firepower that the clans have with their tech, meaning generally speaking, as a whole, more damage, greater range, we want to be utilizing, in terms of battle value, all of our weapons. I don't want to hang back and hide with the Timberwolf and indirect fire. It's not like it's a longbow or even an archer, where based on lesser weapon profiles, lesser weapon damage, and heat management, it might be more efficient to indirect fire. But it's there. It's an option. And having the 20 packs, even if you need 12s to hit, you're still going to fire those. I mean, you might be in a city fight type situation. The Timberwolf is making its way through the maze of the city. You've got a spotting unit or you've got a fast moving unit. We looked at the Fire Moth yesterday. It's running around. Maybe you've got battle armor running around. You've got that indirect. So we have that long range punch. Combined with that in the arms, 2 ER. So we've got the extended range, large lasers. My first thought was, well, why not PPCs? But the balance and difference in heat versus damage, the ER large lasers are a little bit scaled down, but at long range, we've got the missiles and we've got the lasers. We've got that redundancy. That means you're immediately, as soon as something is in range, you're putting down some serious heat. It's not like, and I love the Grasshopper. Grasshopper's a great machine. But at long range, the Grasshopper has something to do. It's firing off. Imagine the noise. It's firing off that LRM 5-pack in the head. It's a little something. Battletech 101, if you've got something in range, you take the shot. If I have an autocannon 2 in range, I'm going to take the shot. Put a little dice on the table. But there's a difference between getting harassed by a pair of AC2s on a blackjack, or getting harassed by a grasshopper, or even a dedicated, like the archer, getting harassed by the archer. The longbow aside, longbow, Jaeger mech, these are dedicated fire support machines. We're looking at generalist mechs, and the Timberwolf is a generalist type mech. There's a big difference between that and the Timberwolf advancing, being like, here's 2 20 packs and 2 ER lasers zipping at you. That's some serious connect. As we close, so this is the first analogy to the Warhammer. The Warhammer has the PPCs. That's kind of what it does. On the inner sphere equivalency, the Warhammer wants to shoot 1 PPC or 2 PPCs and push the heat, manage the heat. But at the long range, it's pushing out that fearsome redundancy, that fearsome punch, but at a much, much lower level. Now, as we get closer to the mid-range bracket, you drop down to the medium lasers, the ERs and the pulse laser. And the pulse lasers, they're brutal. They're brutal in terms of cutting down modifiers, and they get more brutal as the closer you get, and you're naturally dropping range, hex, and movement modifiers. So what we see is actually with this mech, with the Timberwolf, the alpha, just the raw damage, increases as you get closer. So you've got that whole suite of medium lasers just blasting away. And then when you get point blank, now you get to deal with the machine guns and utilizing them. And the machine guns, I think, are important, or perhaps more important with clan mechs for a variety of reasons. And I say that because having those machine guns, look, it's always nice to have, to borrow a little bit from Warhammer 40K, it's always good to have as much DACA as possible. Just throw down as much dice as possible to fire them, especially the machine guns are absolutely no heat whatsoever, just firing them. But what we start to see is inner sphere infantry. If you're playing combined arms, infantry are always important, but they're a lot more important versus the clans. Likewise, battle armor, just the use of battle armor, having machine guns, although it doesn't affect it the same way that infantry does, more firepower at that close range, especially since battle armor wants to get close, not even for grappling attacks, just to be as close as possible with the various configurations. It's nice. So you have, and we see this with the Warhammer, right? This is why I say it's really an updated Warhammer that's 100% effective with no limitations. The idea with the Warhammer is, as it advances, it fires off the PPCs. Once it gets closer, it drops down to that suite of lasers and SRMs. And then once it closes point blank, it's got the machine guns. But you don't have the armor. You don't have the targeting. You don't have, you've got massive heat problems, even if you can maintain heat discipline. I mean, the Warhammer's a great machine. I play it all the time. But it's like, let's create an updated Warhammer for the clans, and the Timberwolf is it. There are certain mechs. We all have our favorite machines for whatever reason, right? I'm obsessed with longbows. I'm obsessed with archers. I'm obsessed with just all these inner sphere mechs. Surprisingly, I like the Crusader. I don't play it as much, probably because my good friend always plays the Crusader, so it's not like I want to take that away from him. Stalkers, we have our favorite machines, but there are certain mechs, both inner sphere and clan, that I call them auto-include. They're just that good. If you're not sure of the mission, if you're not sure of what you're facing, if you take one of these machines, it's going to excel. It's just good at everything. One of the best examples for the inner sphere would be the catapult. And I pushed that Tactica vlog up to my channel here. If I don't really know what to play, I don't know the mission, I don't know the map, I don't know, everything's dynamic, too many what-ifs, I don't have enough intel, catapult. This configuration, the Timberwolf, is like that with the clans. So having 1 or 2 Timberwolf models, you're always going to play them. You're always going to find a use for them. Anytime you put them down on the table, you are not going to be disappointed with them. It's well balanced. It's got redundancy everywhere. It's really, really fearsome. It's got heat management. It's just upside, 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 upside. really an amazing clan mech.